Hello, boys and girls. Mr. Bartoletti here, social studies teacher. It's been a while since we've done social studies with me, and it's about time we start. Now, don't forget that basically you have your red paperback books. It should say, I believe, Inquiry Journal, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it written here, but I think that's what it says. We didn't have you take home the red hardcover books because we didn't know how long we were going to be out. We didn't know if we would ever use them. But as you know, now we have to stay out of school for longer than we thought. So, for the time being at least, I'm going to go ahead and for social studies, I'm going to read what would be in your red hardcover books. But as noted, you have to have your softcover red social study books out for the second part of the lesson. Okay, so let's get going. Social studies. In fact, we're going to talk about history, past and present. I could say, see that poster behind me? That poster is from 1947. It's an original copy. Is it from the past or the present? I hope you said the past. I'm pretty sure you did because this is not 1947. Kind of wish it were, but anyway, wear more hats, you know. But anyway, the point is, it's the past. So when we talk about the past, we talk about something that's already happened. The present is what's happening now, okay, just right now. Obviously. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and talk about past and present. I'm going to read from what would be your red hardcover books. And I'm pretty sure you can see this. Here we go. Okay, especially if you have a good large screen, you can see that. And it says, Chapter 4, Past and Present. And I see a picture of a man playing a guitar. And it says, how is our life different from the past and how is it the same? Our lives and the world we live in change over time. In this chapter, you'll read about the way people lived long ago. You will learn how it is different from the way we live now. You'll also think about how life is still the same. That's interesting because although things change, some things do stay the same. Okay, this part here says past, present, and future. Wow, what is yet to come? As time moves forward, we grow and change. We learn how to make things differently. We even learn how to do new things. This first photograph, it says, long ago, people traveled in carriages pulled by horses. You might see that right there. They dressed differently. Stores looked different too. As you can see in this photograph, it's a two-story store, and it was right there, right by the sidewalk. Usually stores now, a lot of them are bigger than that. They don't look exactly like that. Next one, it says today people travel in cars. They might live and work in tall buildings. Their clothing has changed, that's for sure. And there's an astronaut in space. Long ago, no one imagined we would travel to space. What will people do in the future? Where will they go? What new things will they discover? And that's a good question. And I remember when the first men walked on the moon, and they were from the United States of America. That's right. Now, next page. It says, connect through literature. How a City Grows, Art by Thor Wickstrom. And it says, like a person, a city starts out small and grows. And listen to this story and look at the pictures. Long ago, there were just a few houses or farms. There were no roads, just trails that deer or other animals followed. People traveled by horse or even canoe, but mainly, they walked wherever they needed to go. Wow. As more people came, some built their own farms. Let me read that again. As more people came, some built their own farms. Others opened small stores. Some people became carpenters or blacksmiths. Others were workers who built houses, cooked meals, unloaded ships, or drove carts. And basically this is saying, hey, years ago, how did towns grow? How did a city grow? Well, one person decided to build a house, another person decided to, another person, well, we got people living here, we need stores, we need a school, we need a church or maybe a synagogue to worship and learn. Okay, we need people to bring goods from ships. Okay, we need more farmers, things like that, blacksmiths. So again, this person is saying That's how a city grows. Starts with one or two people or buildings, and it explodes eventually into many buildings and many occupations and businesses. Very interesting. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next page, and this says people you should know, and that's KNOW. So let's go ahead and get ready. This is, some of you may know, Helen Keller, and it says Helen Keller became deaf and blind when she was a baby. Keller worked hard to learn how to read and write. Her teacher, Anne Sullivan, taught Keller to communicate with others. As an adult, Keller went to college. She wrote a book about her amazing life. Yeah, what it doesn't tell you, though, is when she became an adult, she became very active in, how can I say this, in making sure that poor people had their rights, because she realized later in life that she had been raised as a rich person, which is nothing wrong with that, but she realized that other people didn't have the same advantages as she did. So she became somebody who spoke up for poor people, in case you didn't know that, and people that just didn't have that much, even not necessarily poor, but didn't have the same advantages she had, to go ahead and to go through all of school, not to have to work in a factory when you're a child. So she was also someone who did that. Next one, Mr. Mark Twain. Mark Twain was born in 1835. He was a writer. His real name was Samuel Clemens. He wrote many great American books and short stories, such as The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. His stories are still popular today. Yep, and he died in 1910. Great writer. Next one, Amelia Earhart. Amelia Earhart was a pilot. She was born in 1897. In 1928, she became the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. Then she flew over the Pacific Ocean. Earhart was also a writer and a speaker. She worked hard to show the world that women can do anything. Okay? Now, it doesn't tell you, unfortunately, that she was lost. I think it was 1935. She and another pilot were trying to go somewhere, and something happened. They got lost, and for years and years and years and years, they never found the wreckage of their plane. But a few years ago, they did. It was very sad. Okay, and she was also married, so unfortunately, her husband, he lost his wife, which was sad. But anyway, she was quite an aviator. Last one, my man Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson was a baseball player. Bite my tongue. Was a baseball player. He was the first African American to play with a major league team. He helped the Brooklyn Dodgers win the World Series. Robinson also fought for civil rights. He helped make sure all people are treated equally. Okay, they're treated the same. So the point is, now Mr. Robinson was not actually the first black man to play in Major League Baseball. There were a couple, but that was like in the 1800s. He was the first black baseball player to play in the white leagues in 1947. So that's very important, very important. And it says also here that he basically fought for civil rights. And you may know about that basically he wanted to make sure that all people, regardless of what skin color they are, where they come from, where their ancestors came from, what religion, that they're treated fairly. He was a great baseball player, let me tell you. I think my dad saw him play many times. I'm pretty sure he did. Okay, now, boys and girls, that is it, basically, for the big red book that you don't have, the hardcover one. So, what I want you to do, we're going to see part 2 in a moment. Make sure now you have out for sure your softcover red books. I'm pretty sure it's called Inquiry Journal. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. It's the only one you have. It's red, softcover, not hardcover, sorry. Softcover, and it says Inquiry Journal. Because we're going to go ahead, you're going to read with me, and you got some writing to do. It's pretty easy, I think. What do you think? He says, yeah, too. I think he's right.